Denver Radio Real Estate with Cheryl Garlock, a show about all things real estate and home related in Denver and Colorado, covering topics like buying and selling a home warranties, appraisals, how to stage your home, structural engineering, construction, financing, foreclosure, and more. So whether you're looking to upgrade your home, downsize your home, buy a rental property, or simply just need more information on real estate, then you've come to the right place. And remember, you can always use your mouse to buy a house at denverrealty.com. Now, here's your host, Cheryl Garlock.
Hey, welcome to the Denver Radio Real Estate Show. I'm Cheryl Garlock with Colorado Front Range Properties. Thank you so much for joining us today. My very special guest is Chris Zadra. Did I get that right?
You did.
Finally, with Homebridge Financial Services. Chris, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Absolutely. Appreciate being here.
You know, I really want to talk to everybody about a few different things, but first, I want to make sure that you understand something. We've got an announcement to make here. We are moving the show online to a podcast format. Now, that's going to be great because it's going to allow us to focus and zero in on the questions that you have, the things you want to know more about, so we get to dedicate more time to a single topic. Now, that's going to roll out sometime at the beginning here of October, so be going to denverrealty.com. Go to denverrealty.com to check those out. We'll be putting those shows up on iTunes and some other podcast directories there, but you'll always be able to find them at denverrealty.com. Just check out the Denver Radio Real Estate Show there. Now, you know, Chris, it's interesting because as I was listening to the radio here today, I heard some interesting statistics here coming out from the folks at Realty Tech. Happened to mention that the Denver market has seen home appreciation prices increase as high as 34%.
Doesn't surprise me. We've seen a crazy 24 months.
Absolutely. We really have. And I think the last 12 months have been particularly hot.
Definitely.
So, you know, that's, encouraging. That's great if you're a seller. Doesn't always sound the greatest if you're a buyer. And we're certainly going to be talking more about that here today there. So now is definitely the time to go ahead and get a move on. Now, you know, one of the reasons sometimes people don't always make such a move is because they're afraid they don't have enough money for the down payment. I also heard some great encouraging news for you guys there, too, today. I heard, too, that Toys R Us is going to be doing some seasonal hiring. Now, get this, 45,000 is what they expect to hire across the country.
That's crazy.
It is. You know, if you're looking for some extra income for whatever you need, including money for a down payment if you want, you can sure amass that in 6 or 8 weeks doing a temporary job. Wow. You know, maybe an extra 10, 15 hours a week for, a 6-8 week period of time?
Yeah.
That is a pretty slick deal there. And, you know, remember I mentioned to you also about the appreciation rate in Denver having gone up so high as 34%. You know, that's not the only market. Other areas across the country have been seeing an increase as well.
Right.
And that tends to trigger the feds to say they're fearful of inflation.
Yep.
And you get inflation when prices of goods and services go up as a rule. So in this case here, we're talking housing, and, you know, I'm sure autos are soon to follow, and just other general things in general, you know, are go up. So that's when they start thinking about making an adjustment in the interest rate. And you know, we've been at a seductively low interest rate for a long time.
Right. And, you know, sure, what's interesting is the feds met back on, I think it was 18th or 19th, basically mid-month. And still, you know, we're looking at rates staying at the levels they're at probably through 2014. And, you know, ultimately started a lot more of the Fed governors that are on the board started talking more about rates going up in 15, 16, and ultimately 17. Most of them expect the Fed funds rate basically be back to normal in that 4.5%, 5% range, which means prime is going to go up, you know, into that 7, 8 range, you know, and that'll ultimately push our interest rates up to that level as well.
Absolutely. Now, we are going to talk more with Chris about that here in a little bit here, but that is something to really be totally cognizant of. Now, thinking about whether you should buy or whether you should rent. Okay, let me just tell you. There was a report out, let's see, I guess it was the Federal Reserve, once again. They conducted a survey of consumer finance, and they do that every 3 years, and they just released some statistics on there. And get this, they said that a homeowner's net worth is 36 times greater than that of a renter. Some other interesting things that they noted that you should be aware of is the average American family has a net worth of $81,200.
Wow.
So that depends on how good that wow is, you
Yep.
know? Okay, and of that net worth, meaning 61.4% or 49,856 of it is in home equity.
Wow.
Home equity, that's a big, big deal. Homeowner's net worth, again, is 36 times greater than that of a renter there. And a homeowner, the average homeowner, has a net worth of $194,500, while the average net worth of a renter is $5,400. What's the bottom line, you guys? Got us buy that home. Hey, stay tuned for more from the Denver Radio Real Estate Show. We'll be right back to share more information with you.
If you're looking for your dream home or your first house, Cheryl Garlock and Colorado Front Range Properties can make your dream a reality. Here's what others are saying.
Cheryl understood my needs and focused on the properties that most interested me and helped me determine which property would be worth the investment of a lifetime.
As a former teacher, Cheryl has a heart to educate and protect your interest. Call Cheryl today, 720-373-0654 or online at denverrealty.com.
Education, the key to success in life. Red Rocks Institute of Colorado can give you that key. Classes, events, workshops, and webinars. We can help you learn and give you a platform to teach your passion. Red Rocks Institute offers a wide variety of classes, from money management, real estate, investments, mortgage, insurance, retirement planning, and more. Red Rocks Institute, an adult education center designed to empower people with knowledge. For more information, go to redrocksinstitute.com.
Oh, I'm proud of the house we built.
Hey, welcome back to the Denver Radio Real Estate Show. I'm Cheryl Garlock with Colorado Front Range Properties. I am so glad you joined us here today. You know, this is a show all about real estate consumer education and providing you the best of services that we can go ahead and offer you. So we always like to go ahead and keep you well informed as to what's going on the market and some of the nuances, you might say, with regards to real estate. Chris Zadra with Homebridge Financial Services is my guest today, and we've been already talking a little bit about the effect of interest rates, inflation, and that sort of thing there, so you definitely want to stay tuned with us here as we talk more about that. But if you are thinking about buying a home, and you're not 100% certain of exactly where to go or what to do, go to denverrealty.com. And on the homepage there, right below the panoramic picture, you'll be able to find a little ebook that'll help you. It's a buyer's guide called The Home Buying Process, Keys to Your Success. Now, what's important about that is that it'll give you some tips and tricks there about negotiating and what you need to know, things that you need to consider when you're buying a home. And last but not least, it's got an ideal worksheet in there to help you identify what's right for you in terms of housing, what you're looking for there. So go to denverrealty.com, and of course, you know what to do. You got questions, give me a call, 720-373-0654, 720-373-0654, or pop me an email. Just go to denverrealty.com and you'll find it right there. Now, Chris, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit more back about the effect of the rising interest rates. You know, we always tell people that now is a good time to buy. I don't really think a lot of people really understand exactly, well, why now? Why not tomorrow? Well, I just talked about inflation.
Right.
And the fact that Denver's home prices have gone up, you know, at least 34% over the, the last year or so. And that's significant. You know, that's not what it's going up on average. And you can't keep up with that. And that's what the feds will do to control that inflation. That's really not good for us in the long run.
Right. And you know that, the feds have basically been printing money for all intentions over the last several years. And so we know inflation's coming. It's just a matter of when and how much.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I want to go back to, because you were sharing with me some statistics there and some of the, I think you call it a DOTS program, basically how the Board of Governors has actually voted when they've met on to hold interest rates down or how many points to move it up.
Correct.
And right now, they're loaning money. I know you guys maybe don't know this at all, but they're loaning money out to the banks at what, 0?
Basically, yeah. I mean, the Fed funds rate doesn't affect us, technically as consumers, because it's basically what the overnight lending rate is for bank to bank. But the Fed
but
funds,
it does affect us, though, because
ultimately affect us. Yes,
it does, because the rates that are offered to consumers are based on that Fed funds rate and then some.
So prime rate is probably the rate most people understand. Prime is based on what the Fed funds rate is, as that traditionally when the Fed raises or lowers rates, it directly correlates to the prime rate. And again, prime rate's not specifically tied to what you're going to get on a 30-year mortgage.
No.
It is on a second. Prime rate's typically a direct tie to a second mortgage, but the bond market kind of all the bonds, whether it's a mortgage bond or any other type of bond, follows that direct to some degree. So if the Fed funds rates goes up, let's say 1%, there's a reasonable chance we're going to see interest rates go up somewhere in that same range,
right?
During that period of time, because it costs the banks more to, borrow the money that they need to survive, if you will.
So I want you to be thinking about this, because this is really what we were talking about here. You showed me the chart and the graph there where the Board of Governors was suggesting, how far up the, for the next, 4 or 5 years,
correct,
the path, the direction for the interest rates. And we have been at an uncanny low. I've been doing this for 34 years. I can tell you this is the last few years of the interest rates that we've had. This is not real. It's just seductive. It's not real.
And there's a couple things I wanted to share with people on this. First off, one of the statistics I saw, and this is not exact, but it just kind of shows you what kind of the mentality is there was a statistic probably 6 months ago or so that they looked at 2,000 folks that were buying a home, and they asked them what they thought normal interest rates were, and 85 to 90% of them, somewhere in that neck of the woods, thought that rates below 5% was normal, which just blew my mind, because I ran some numbers here before we got together to kind of share with people. So if we go back and we look at they track rates monthly on average. I found them all the way back to 1971.
Yeah.
The average interest rate, if you take from August of this year to January of 71, is 8.5%.
8.5%. I've been in this business, like I said, 34 years, and so hey, I got to tell you,
crazy.
This is not news to me.
And here's the thing that I also want to throw out there, because to me, I think there's definitely some skews to that.
Mm-hmm.
You look at basically 2007, 2008 is when we saw rates start to make their real big drop to where we are today, and then if you go back into about 1990, 1989 and back when Jimmy Carter was in office and we had some major inflation issues, those are kind of two areas that I think are very skewed, both on the low end and the high end. So if you take that out, which I to kind of get a truer average, in my opinion, the average is still about 7.5.
Wow.
And so when you look at today's rates being in the, roughly the mid 4s, that's a big deal. And where I wanted to kind of head with this is, if you look at, let's say $250,000 loan amount roughly. Okay.
Right.
And you see a 1% change in rates. Here's the effect that happens to the consumer. You see a $153 payment change. So, as an example, if today's rates are 4.5 and they jump up to 5.5, you're paying $153 more for the exact same
house
loan, whatever.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so here's where I kind of take that to the next level to make more sense to people is if I'm a consumer that it can only qualify for a certain payment. So, again, just generic numbers on a $250,000 house at 4.5, you're looking at a principal and interest of about $1,266. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so if that's the maximum I can qualify for, I don't make enough income to go higher. Basically, an interest rate increase of 1% now pulls me down to $223,000. So it knocks off $27,000.
It lowers your purchasing power, which when you have a rising market home prices, wow, you're really in not good shape there. So
take it a step further.
Yeah.
Okay. You just talked about what the market appreciated, and let's that's kind of a higher number than what we traditionally see on average.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think 8% is kind of what we traditionally see, but let's just even be conservative and say 5%. If we look at that same exact scenario, now all of a sudden, that's about $11,000.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden, the same house a year from now, if rates went up 1% and you waited a year, you're looking at buying the same house effectively for $212,000. So you've effectively just pulled, $40,000 worth of qualification on purchase price out of
it really
by waiting.
It hurts you big time. We're going to talk more about this as our show continues here, but let me remind you of an announcement that we're making here. But we're moving our show to a podcast format. It's going to allow us to zero in on the questions and talk more specifically about subjects like this. And Chris is going to do that with me here in the not too distant future here. So go to denverrealty.com. Be sure to keep check of us there and watch for our shows right there. We'll be right back with more from the Denver Radio Real Estate Show.
If you're looking for your dream home or your first house, Cheryl Garlock and Colorado Front Range Properties can make your dream a reality. Here's what others are saying.
Cheryl did an incredible job of creating a virtual tour of our house and property, which was very appealing and professionally done. Cheryl was in constant communication and offered very sound and professional advice.
As a former teacher, Cheryl has a heart to educate and protect your interest. Call Cheryl today, 720-373-0654, or online at denverrealty.com.
Education, the key to success in life. Red Rocks Institute of Colorado can give you that key. Classes, events, workshops, and webinars. We can help you learn and give you a platform to teach your passion. Red Rocks Institute offers a wide variety of classes, from money management, real estate, investments, mortgage, insurance, retirement planning, and more. Red Rocks Institute, an adult education center designed to empower people with knowledge. For more information, go to redrocksinstitute.com.
Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America?
Hey, welcome back to the Denver Radio Real Estate Show. I'm Cheryl Garlock with Colorado Front Range Properties. So glad you could join me today. My very special guest is Chris Zadra with Homebridge Financial Services. Now, Chris is a wealth of information. He's been in this business making loans to first-time buyers, move-up buyers, retirees, self-employed people, investors. Oh, my gosh.
You name it.
Together we've covered the gamut. What's the phone number, Chris, that they should call you at if they want to talk to you about financing?
The best way to catch me is 720-515-4449. Again, 720-515-4449.
Okay, well, that's great. Now, I've got some properties I want to share with you here, but first I want to tell you, be sure to go to denverrealty.com. If you're thinking about buying or even if you're thinking about selling, and you know how it really works, you become a seller after you think about buying. So do yourself a favor, go to denverrealty.com. I guarantee you're going to love that website. It's got everything you could possibly want to need online regarding residential real estate, but click on the Search Homes tab, and yes, use your mouse to find a house. You will tap directly into the Realtors MLS right there, and you'll be able to get real-time information. You can't get it from any other better source than that. That is the best thing you can do, because I tell you, I got buyers that get to show here later on here today, and I got to tell you right now, it never fails because they go to some outside websites there, and the truth of the matter is that, okay, I tell them, give me 6 properties, and I'll hope that 2 are available.
All 6 are sold by the time you get there.
Yeah, because it's bad enough just trying to keep up with our own MLS, but when you go to these outside sources, they usually are what you call a day late and a dollar short.
Absolutely.
So anyway, go to denverrealty.com and use your mouse to find a house. Click on the Search Homes tab. Now, these 3 properties here, by the way, are at, let's see, the very first one is over in Roxborough. This one here is a really nice duplex here. It's a high-end duplex there by standards, $359,900, and it's got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, over 2,800 square feet with a 2-car garage, private backyard, a glorious setting, open concept living, backs to Pike National Forest, slab granite, and this thing here is only built like in 2012.
It's beautiful, beautiful house.
Now, I've got to tell you something here, and Chris and I will talk about this a bit more, but if you buy this home, let's say you do an FHA loan with 3.5% down roughly, give or take, you've got a $346,000 mortgage there at 4.25%, 30-year fixed rate. Your principal and interest payments around $1,700. If you do something a little different, we'll talk more about this later here, but a 5/1 FHA ARM, that starts off at, okay, I hope you're sitting down, 3 1/4. This is not a loan for everybody, but it's a great thing if it works for you in timing. That's like $1,500. Okay, I've got another property I want to tell you about. This one is over in U Hills, kind of near Bible Park, just north of Tamarack Square in southeast Denver, priced at $284,900. It's got 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 950 square feet, a single car garage. The seller is motivated, and this home is a startling remodel. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes, it is. It looks nice as well.
So priced at $274 or $284,900. The loan on an FHA is say $274,500 approximately. 4% 30-year fixed rate or 4 1/4, just a little around $1,300 on principal, interest, and payments. But at 3 1/4 on that FHA 5/1 ARM, you get that payment below $1,200 on the principal and interest. And then next, I have another one over in near the Harvard Gulch area. This is great, southeast Denver location. This one is priced at $334,900, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,100 square feet, a 2-car attached garage. Again, an absolutely gorgeous remodel. This one won't last very long. 4 1/4%, say 30-year fixed rate, makes for an FHA loan of about $323,000. Your principal and interest payment is only $1,588, and at 3 1/4 on an FHA 5/1 ARM, as we call it, we'll talk more about that a bit, that payment is actually reduced to around $1,400. My goodness gracious.
Wow.
Check these properties out at denverrealty.com. Just hit on the extras tab there, and you'll see the property showcase section right there. Now, stay tuned for more from the Denver Radio Real Estate Show, because we're going to talk more a little bit about the move-up mania and what's really happening and what you should be thinking about. We'll be right back with more from the Denver Radio Real Estate Show.
Education, the key to success in life. Red Rocks Institute of Colorado can give you that key. Classes, events, workshops, and webinars. We can help you learn and give you a platform to teach your passion. Red Rocks Institute offers a wide variety of classes, from money management, real estate, investments, mortgage, insurance, retirement planning, and more. Red Rocks Institute, an adult education center designed to empower people with knowledge. For more information, go to redrocksinstitute.com.
It's a big house with lots and lots of room. A big table.
Hey, welcome back to the Denver Radio Real Estate Show. I'm Cheryl Garlock with Colorado Front Range Properties. I am so glad you could join us here today. Now, I just wanted to make this announcement here again that we are moving the show to a different location here. We're taking it off online, I should say. We're going to be doing podcasts, and you'll be able to find us in some different iTunes directories and other podcast directories. A lot of people are into that these days here, but you can always keep track of the show and check it out anytime you want by going to denverrealty.com. We'll also have it on YouTube, because we put a lot of stuff on YouTube there as it is. And all you got to do is, if you go to YouTube, just put in my name, Cheryl Garlock, Cheryl, Garlock, Garlock, or go ahead and put in Denver Radio Real Estate. That'll get you there as well. So anyway, Chris Zadra with Homebridge Financial Services has joined me on the show here today. And we've been talking a lot about, the fluctuation in interest rates and the market trends as well.
Right.
And so, I was reading an article by the folks at Realty Times. They were talking about the move-up mania.
Move-up mania.
And that's really kind of what we're starting to see. And there's some questions you need to ask yourself if this is right for you. And one of those, I just want to hit on a few questions here, because it's important for kind of a thinking process. If you're thinking about making that move, do you sit tight or do you move on up? And Chris really has some great insight on that. But first of all, think about this. How close is your property to being free and clear? Meaning, is it almost paid off? Or have you already been paying a lot extra on the loan already? So does that mean you already have a lot of equity, which is good, because then you either decide to stay put and it's soon to be paid off and you don't have a mortgage anymore, or you trade that equity in and use that, especially nowadays,
right,
to go ahead and buy that other house that you really need or you really want. So, and another concept here is that you might keep that house because the rental rates are high, in some parts of the country, but particularly in Denver.
Denver, yes.
They are really really high. We have a shortage of housing. And so this is a great opportunity for you to become a real estate investor by using your own home. It's an easy way to do that. You know what you need to do? Call me 720-373-0654 to discuss that as an option there. Maybe you also want to think about staying in your existing neighborhood. Or maybe you don't.
Right.
Maybe you're tired of it.
Or the neighbors.
I mean, it kind of depends. It's whatever kind of good for your family situation there. How close are you with that, and how committed are you? But sometimes we get the empty nester syndrome, and the kids grow up and they leave, and it's time for a whole new environment. People when they start getting into the empty nester syndrome, the baby boomers, we think about new life,
and not having to clean so much house.
Not having, and so they get sort of reinvigorated, and sometimes they move from the big old suburbs down to the lofts in downtown Denver.
That way they're close.
So it's now a good time for you to be doing that. Now, another one. Do you need more space? If you're a young family, you might need more space if that family is growing, not just in terms of numbers, but in size.
Or the opposite of that, less space, like you just talked about.
Yeah, exactly. So keep that in mind there as far as that's concerned. Do you really need more space there? And maybe that's a reason. And then also, and this is a big one here, is how much can you reasonably afford with an increase in your payment? Now, usually on a move-up mania thing, you trade your house in for today, not to get the same equal thing, but to move up. And you're going to move up into a little bit higher price range. And unless you're going to be paying with cash, you're going to have a mortgage. So how much of a mortgage? And sometimes you can move up and it can go down.
Right.
And especially with today's interest rates. Now, I mentioned during our property showcase, Chris, a few properties there that had the opportunity to have an adjustable rate mortgage that could help keep those payments lower for a period of time. And that's not always a good thing.
It's not. And, Cheryl, one of the things I have to tell you is, you're not supposed to swear on the radio.
The
word ARM is something that's synonymous right now, with a lot of people. When you say that, they kind of freak out. But an ARM, and I've said this multiple times, I am a big believer that every loan product is not bad. It has a specific purpose. An ARM, just kind of in a quick sense, and again, if you need more information on this, feel free to give me a call at 720-515-4449. But basically, here's what an ARM is. It's an adjustable rate mortgage. There's usually a period that the rate is locked, whether it's a 1-year ARM, a 3-year ARM, a 5-year ARM, 7-year ARM, 10-year ARM. Those are kind of the traditional ARMs.
Right.
They're fixed for that period of time, and then after that, they're going to adjust based on, what the market's going to do. A lot of people are afraid of these because they've gotten bitten by them. Back several years ago, we had ARMs with interest only. So we saw people, basically buy a lot more house than they could because of how we qualified. In today's world, we qualify at the fully indexed rate, meaning we qualify kind of in a worst case scenario. There's a lot more safety features
for the consumer. So it's real.
Absolutely.
You just need to have a good discussion, with your realtor and with your lender. Your lender in particular here about this to give you the upshot and the downshot of that. Let's figure out what works for you and your game plan, what you're doing there. Now, if you are thinking about selling your home here, I got to tell you two quick things here, and that is I'm introducing a new program in a hot market, particularly that might be of interest to you. It's a discount service program there, but you can choose the traditional services as well. Give me a call, 720-373-0654. And also, by the way, make sure that you watch for our show changing, going online here. Go to denverrealty.com. We will catch you again in October.
You've been listening to Denver Radio Real Estate, the show that covers all things real estate and home related in Colorado. Go to denverrealty.com to sign up for special offers and events. You can also listen to past shows, read educational articles, and find links to all your home and real estate needs. Cheryl would love to hear from you. If you have a topic you would like covered or have a question, email info@denverrealty.com.